When a lone gunman went on the rampage at the Pentagon last week, theories arose he was a 9/11 truther. In other words, someone who questions the official story of the 2001 terrorist attacks in New York. And while 9/11 truthers flatly deny the shooter is one of them, the event has thrown the spotlight on a growing movement of people who believe Bush and co had a hand in September the 11th. ABC America went along to one of their conventions to hear their story.
Our government is absolutely complicit in a grand cover-up.
The United States orchestrated, facilitated the death of my son.
It's extremely important that we know the whole truth about 9/11.
Bush, CIA asset.
Over the weekend, hundreds of Americans calling themselves 9/11 truthers gathered at Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. They come from all over the political spectrum. What they share is a deep and unbending distrust of the official explanation. Many believe the 9/11 attacks were an inside job.
I just call it a cover-up. There's a cover-up. There's absolutely a cover-up.
The driving force here,
So I'm glad you came.
a housewife from suburban Philadelphia who plunked down $20,000 of her own money to stage the convention.
A lot of people are going to look at this and wonder, are you part of a kind of a lunatic fringe?
There is a lunatic fringe, absolutely. But we're trying to keep the crazies out of here because we're just average Americans. I'm just a housewife and a mom that wants the truth.
Such doubts have spawned an entire cottage industry of 9/11 conspiracy. The movement is knitted together on the internet, a viral community of true believers. Its gospel, the film Loose Change, is among the most downloaded videos in Google history. Its young producers, stars of this convention, disavow any connection to violent extremists such as John Patrick Bedell, killed in that Pentagon shootout last week.
We know that the news said that he might have been a truther, but that's it. That's all we know. I don't support violence. It's that simple.
They're trying to already equate us with this man and trying to say that the 9/11 truth movement is a militia, gun-toting, anti-government conspiracy theory. That couldn't be anything farther from the truth.
And we are told that these massive structures were destroyed by 10,000 gallons of jet fuel.
Their film peddles some largely discredited arguments, claiming that jet fuel was not hot enough to melt the steel structures, that the buildings pancaked down in controlled explosions, that the hijacker of American Airlines Flight 77 lacked sufficient training to fly the plane. All of it pointing ominously to a shadowy government conspiracy.
Do you believe elements of the U.S. government murdered American citizens?
I believe that it's highly possible that there were definitely elements within the Bush administration that either were criminally negligent or criminally complicit in the events.
Complicit, you mean they allowed the killing of innocent Americans?
One way or another, they allowed the killing of innocent Americans. The only question is how responsible they were for it.
Why would they do that?
Why wouldn't they?
The truthers not only distrust the government, many also believe the mainstream media, including Nightline, are somehow complicit. We were followed by cameras wherever we went.
Can I ask what you're doing?
And the makers of Loose Change clearly didn't appreciate our questions.
Anything that we try to put out, you guys just simply knock us down. We already know what the piece is going to do.
We already know what you guys are going to do. Just by the questions you asked us, it's very clear what your agenda is.
We got the story basically right.
Former Congressman Lee Hamilton, vice chairman of the 9/11 Commission,
This commission, of course, does not have all of the answers.
tells us the truthers are better at producing theories than evidence.
When they bring these theories of what happened forward, the appropriate question is, what evidence do you have of that? And if they have evidence, then let's examine it in the court of public opinion. We're still arguing about the assassination of Abraham Lincoln and of John F. Kennedy. The American people will be arguing about 9/11 100 years hence.
Every last detail of that terrible day may never be known. But for those who claim to want the truth, the most simple explanation that 19 hijackers inspired by Osama bin Laden did all this will never be enough.
And that famous event 9 years ago spawned 2 wars in the Middle East, providing the brutal subject matter of last night's Oscar winner, The Hurt